This week's episode of Kaiju number 8 was freaking amazing. So much added to the lore of Kaiju, and we finally got Kafka transforming and handing the business to Kaiju number 9 as well. But not only that, we got Captain Narumi going all out. But I know the main question on your mind. What did this episode do differently from its manga counterpart? This week's episode of Kaiju number 8 is titled The Strongest Division, and it adapted 4 manga chapters, chapter 45 to 48. That's about 109 pages with just as much panels to match. And we've got some changes, but mostly scene reorganization, which is along the lines of what Kaiju number 8 episodes are known for. Let's see the breakdown of what was changed. One of the first things that were changed in this episode is the rearranging of certain scenes. You see, this week's episode had 2 major fights going, Kafka and Kikoru, and then Narumi versus Kaiju number 9, and both fights were interlaced throughout the episode. But this wasn't the same in the manga, as it was chapters 45 and 46 that focused on Kafka and Kikoru's fight, and then chapter 47 and the first part of 48 that focused on Narumi's fight, which works well for the anime. Watching these scenes interlace make for a pretty amazing episode, keeping us at the edge of our seat. Kikoru was freaking amazing, like a juggernaut on the field, and her backstory about her mom dying hit hard. I don't know what it is, even though I've seen this a million times in anime, it always chokes me up when the dead parents trope comes up. And Narumi was no pushover either, using his kaiju contact lenses to read his enemy's movements and then using it to make his kill. This guy is freaking broken. No wonder his eyes change color during battle. It all makes sense now. Some other changes that I noticed in this episode is where the episode started off. We got a quick replay of the last scene of the last episode when Kikoru came to help Kafka. We didn't get a replay of the start of the chapter, which was included in the last episode. You see, the start of manga chapter 45 started with this dude telling the general that he must leave the fighting to the newbies as it's their trial, and besides, using kaiju weaponry shortens his lifespan. Anyways, some of the panels that were skipped in this week's episode was that of this guy observing Kikoru as her skills has improved right before going into Kikoru's flashback. And then there were some small changes with Kikoru's axe technique. It was changed just a little bit. Pretty inconsequential if you ask me. There were some anime exclusive scenes here of this guy saying that they should move on to plan B. In the manga, we simply observe Kafka failing and then Kikoru coming to his aid once more. This is also where the anime switched up a few things and jumped ahead from chapter 45 to 47, and it was a pretty seamless transition in the anime. In the scene where Narumi went to 98%, there was much more to it in the manga, as in the anime, it pretty much skipped 2 pages of content for chapter 47. You see, Kafka had already defeated Kaiju number 9 by the time Narumi started taking the fight seriously, and then Kaiju number 9 was communicating between itself if they should combine. But the one facing Narumi said, no, not right now, he's too busy learning. By that time as well, Narumi was being asked by his vice captain what they would do if Kaiju number 8 goes berserk, in which case Narumi decides to start taking this fight seriously so that he can get rid of Kaiju number 9 to get to Kaiju number 8 as quickly as possible. But for now, they'll leave it up to Kikoru to handle it. The anime also made good of cutting down some of the backseat commentary reactions from many of the communication room staff, constantly cutting in throughout the chapters. But I have zero issues with that because who needs constant commentary, right? But let me know, what was your favorite part of this whole episode? Another week, another excellent Kaiju number 8 episode. Can't wait to see the next one, to see what kind of shenanigans they get up to next. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are of this week's episode and some of these changes. I've been your host Kyle. Thank you again for joining me, V Nation. Peace out, stay safe out there. Bye.